Hi, I'm Anthony Henry. Welcome to America's Ask, where politics is the butt of the joke. As you know, I'm Anthony Henry, like I was last time. And here, today, we have our first politician guest. So, everyone, please welcome Representative David Love of Derry. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, so I'm sure the audience doesn't know very much about you at all. So, take a minute to tell them what you want them to know about you.
I'm not so sure they don't know too much about me, but I grew up south of the border. I escaped Massachusetts about 30 years ago, and came to southern New Hampshire here. Bounced around from Londonderry to Atkinson, back to Londonderry, and settled here in Derry after my divorce, and got active in politics, and here we are.
What was the sort of deal-breaking issue that got you into the politics of the area?
I got involved in the middle of my divorce. I got involved in a father's rights group. I went from there to Second Amendment issues to all kinds of political things, and just became active. Testifying in Concord and what have you, and it just snowballed from there.
And you've been a state rep since 2018, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so first topic of the day, definitely the most widely watched political topic of the past week or so, probably more than that by now, the arrest of Donald Trump. So, he was arraigned in court yesterday. I did sneak my phone out in math class to watch the parade to the courthouse. Then I looked at the photos after, him sitting with his lawyers. I just read the indictment a couple minutes ago. All of it looks exactly the same in terms of like all 34 counts. I think it's all first-degree falsifying business records. I'll let you go first, Representative, giving your thoughts.
I think it's a shame what's happening to America. The politicization of our justice system. If Donald Trump was just Donald Trump businessman, none of this would have happened. We've had presidents in the past that have done much worse, and walked away unscathed. And because he is who he is, because he stood up against the establishment, they're wreaking havoc on his life. And to do that is, like I said, to use politics to use the justice system to play a role in politics is wrong.
Yeah, and like you said, much worse has happened with past presidents. Bill Clinton's a perfect example. Mm-hmm. With the her name's slipping me.
Paula Jones.
Paula Jones, yep. and of course, Monica Lewinsky scandal. Everyone knows about that. That mm-hmm. got him impeached. So, my thoughts on the Trump arrest. It's the first, well, technically second time, because Ulysses Grant was arrested for a speeding ticket. But second time that a president has been arrested for something. Well, former president, allegedly. And yeah, I think this country is going to descend into a banana republic, pretty much. We got people getting, not people, what am I talking about? Politicians are getting arrested by their opponents for political reasons. As the representative pointed out, it is politicization of our justice system. It's like the days of Mao, what's the last name?
Mao Zedong.
Mao Zedong of China, Joseph Stalin of USSR, Hitler of Germany. It's just, yeah. And Castro of Cuba, another good example. And Cuba's still communist. Russia's sort of still communist. Yeah, China's definitely still communist. That's what we talked about that last episode with TikTok. So, predictions for how the trial is going to turn out. I know that they're going to start doing the court hearings in December. At least it's what they have right now. I don't think Trump's going to get jail time. I just don't think that's going to happen. He'll probably get a fine, a big fine, because it's Trump. And they're probably going to try to. I think they might try to impeach him a third time, to be honest. They might. It probably won't happen, but I feel like they're going to attempt to do something in the House. What do you think?
I think that the whole thing is just a political move to either encourage him not to run, or to really to blackball him and have him lose. Nothing more, nothing less. They're
Yeah.
afraid of him.
Yeah. I think this is going to benefit him, to be honest.
Could very well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his base is going to start rallying around him even more than they were because of this arrest. And I think he's definitely the front runner now
Oh,
for the
he
nomination.
has been anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think DeSantis is probably going to jump in. At least I think so.
Yeah.
We already have Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy.
I like him.
Yeah, I do too. He's a very smart guy. Very, very smart.
I've been saying that I don't know how one man can fit so much information between 2 ears.
Yeah.
The one time that I went to see him, I was just awestruck with all the information that he had. Very
Same.
brilliant man.
Same. Yeah, I got to meet him. I talked to him for a couple minutes. Look him up if you don't know who he is. Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's real good. Oh, and I don't know if you've heard this yet, but former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson just announced his run for president.
I'm not impressed.
He's got no chance. Yeah. And on the Dem side, supposedly Robert Kennedy Jr. might run, which would be really interesting.
That'd be real interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a true Kennedy Democrat.
Yeah.
You know, he's not your typical progressive Democrat of today.
Yeah.
And, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of progressive Democrats, moving briefly on to the Chicago mayor race, that the runoff happened yesterday. Lightfoot was knocked out. Mayor Lightfoot was knocked out in the original round. She was third place. And in a shocking turn of events, no one saw this coming, Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson has been elected mayor of Chicago. He defeated former Chicago school superintendent Paul Vallis, who was widely considered the front runner to win. And Vallis is a very, very moderate Democrat, for Chicago at least. And yeah, we're going to be moving farther to the left of what's currently in Chicago, which I didn't even know was possible. But yeah, I know you don't know too much about this, but
God help the children of Chicago.
yeah, yeah, I think crime's going to double what's already being doubled.
Education's going to tank.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sad day for Chicago.
Yeah. And same with the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. Former Supreme Court Justice Dan Kelly lost to, very hard to pronounce name, Janet Protasewicz. I think that's how you say it. She defeated Dan Kelly, and the Wisconsin Supreme Court now has a liberal majority for the first time in 15 years. So, and that's really important because Wisconsin is a swing state, which, if you don't know, that means they swing in either direction of political party, Democrat, Republican. And that's real important because any law they try to pass, they now have to go through that liberal majority on the Supreme Court, which now puts Republicans at a huge disadvantage in Wisconsin.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
When the people of Wisconsin start paying the price for the progressive ways, the taxation, the spending, and what have you, all the social programs that they have, it'll take a little bit of time, but it will swing. Like you talked about, it'll swing back to a more conservative. The conservative base will come alive, and you know, it'll swing back that way.
Yeah, currently Wisconsin's got a Democrat governor, and they have a Republican senator and a Democrat senator. So they truly are a swing state. New Hampshire's a big swing state. Well, not lately, I guess. But, yeah, at the federal level, we're going Democrat every time. President, both Congress seats, both Senate seats, unfortunately. But at the state level, Republicans are doing really well. We got Governor Sununu. We have a barely Republican-controlled House, and Representative, we'll talk about that in a bit. We have a Republican-controlled Senate, Republican-controlled executive council. So, yeah, swing states are going to be real interesting to watch. Kind of got a little sidetracked. Back to the Trump arrest. What do you think's going to happen with the arrest? Do you think he'll go to jail? Do you think he'll get a fine?
I don't think he'll go to jail, but I think the whole thing is just to get him to not run,
Yeah.
to back down and not run, withdraw, and nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah. One thing that my grandfather actually pointed out to me when I was talking about this with him yesterday, if Trump does go to jail, which is highly, highly unlikely, but if he does, like, what would his security be like? Like, he'd probably go to, would you say, minimum security? Because he'd have to have a Secret Service with him, in jail with him.
It's an interesting question. I don't know whether the Secret Service has the power to stop it or not.
Yeah.
I know they had the power to stop him from being paraded in handcuffs and what have you. So we'll see. I'm not sure as far as Secret Service powers and how that'd affect it.
Yeah. And Trump's facing a maximum of 136 years in prison. Definitely not happening. Yeah. 34 counts of falsifying business records in first degree. Yeah. All right. I guess we'll just talk about some New Hampshire state legislative stuff. So I'll let you lead that off.
Sure.
You're in the mix of it better than anyone.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we're going to be voting on the budget. There's and this budget that we'll be hopefully passing is just a proposal. It'll go on the table with the Senate proposal and the governor's proposal, and everything will be hashed out, and they'll come up with something more permanent, and then we'll vote on that. All the numbers are fungible. They can go one way or another. Right now there's a spending increase and a tax decrease. We've had some good revenue come in, and we've been able to do that.
Yeah. And what are some important bills floating around right now?
Probably the most important bill, we're getting the Senate version of the Parental Rights Bill. The House version failed by 4 votes.
Yep.
It failed by 2 votes, I believe, and we had 4 Republicans vote against it. I don't know what their problem with it was, but I hope it's been alleviated and fixed. But this is going to be a big thing with there's a lot of opposition to the way the things that are being taught in schools, and the parents have a right to know what the kids are being taught and how they're being taught. They have a right to know any how can I put this? They have a right to know what's going on in their kids' lives. The parents are the ones that are responsible, not the teachers. The kids do not belong to the schools, and that's what it seems to be the way we're going. Is your children will not be yours anymore. They belong to the schools, and the schools will do as they please with them. And we've got we've got to stop that.
Yeah. This bill's probably it's probably one of the only bills that people at my school consistently know about, ever since the original Don't Say Gay bill happened in Florida. That was a big deal when I was in middle school, in 8th grade. They actually had a walkout during one of the periods. They tried gathering people into the lunchroom as a in-school walkout because of the Don't Say Gay bill across the country. It's not even called Don't Say Gay bill. That's what the liberal media has coined it. So the walkout did not go as they thought it would. I'd say I didn't go, but I had people told me what happened. Apparently 75% of the people there were not going because they agreed with the walkout. They just wanted to go to make fun of everyone that went.
Isn't that what high school kids do?
Yeah. And basically hijack it. Like, I heard that there was people there that went up to the microphone. They had a microphone for anyone that wanted to speak. And people were going up and chanting, "We are gay," just to freak everyone out. And yeah, definitely a lot of misconceptions among my generation on what it actually does. So can you explain in brief terms what it actually does without all of the liberal and I shouldn't say liberal, news bias.
What it actually does is keeps sexual identity, the subject of sex, that belongs to the parents. It does not belong to the teachers, and that's the bottom line on that. If your kid's gay, you should know about it. If your kid wants to do the transsexual thing, you should know about it. The opposition to this parental rights bill has often said that there are kids whose parents wouldn't agree and that might beat them and stuff. Well, we have laws for that. We don't have to take away the rights of 95% of the parents, or maybe even more, maybe 98% of the parents, in order to fix a law that we already have that'll work fine.
Yeah, and I can almost guarantee that those 4 Republicans won't be around for next session.
They've certainly been talked to, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah. My grandfather actually lives in the district that one of them represents, and he is sort of thinking of running against him. I don't think he will in the end, but I'm trying. I think he'd be a lot better than that representative in Manchester
We'll work
Ward
on
8. Yeah, we'll work on him. I've already called a lot of people about it. But yeah, another big bill I had in mind was the abortion bill. It was the same day as I believe of the Bill of Rights.
The 24-week abortion ban, I think, and the people I've talked to, most people in New Hampshire do not like the idea of killing a viable baby, and that's where most people stand. At 24 weeks, a baby is viable, most people don't want to pay for it. They don't want viable babies killed, and that's what that bill does. Maggie Hassan, said that it didn't allow for fetal anomalies. It most certainly does. It didn't allow for the health and safety of the mother, and it certainly does. There were a lot of mistruths given out in that campaign, and she had a lot of money to go on TV and spread these lies, and that's pretty much how she won.
Yep.
It's when I was out talking with people, I brought a copy of the bill with me, and when they asked me, I just said, "Here, read it. You tell me." Yeah. And when they were done reading it, they said, "She's lying." So the problem is most politics takes money, and at the local level here, at the state rep level, it doesn't take much. We do our own knocking on doors and talking to people and stuff, and but once you get into a U.S. Senate race, you need some TV time, and that's expensive.
Yeah. I think almost everyone at Pinkerton was actually supporting Bolduc just because of how annoying her ads got. Mm-hmm. Like, I have some friends that were like, I'm just trying to play video games and her ads are coming up. Like, they're just annoyed based off how many ads she had.
Yeah, Don's an honorable man, and I got to know him pretty well, and he just didn't have financial backing. He wasn't willing to play the game. The fact is, one story that he went to meet with a major donor, and the donor was saying, you'll do this, 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 and this, and he said, no, you got the wrong guy. I'm going to do what's right for New Hampshire, and he left $5 million on the table, from what I understand, and that's an honorable man to me, and New Hampshire lost out when he didn't beat Maggie Hassan.
Yeah, I probably met him at least 5 times on the campaign trail. He was just one of the most genuine politicians.
Absolutely, yep.
Genuine politicians, I think there is, and there's not a lot of genuinely good people that are politicians. Yeah, yeah. Most of them are scum. So, what are some other bills going on at the State House that people might not know about?
Well, you've got the litany of abortion bills, like you said. We had an abortion statistics bill, for instance, that we couldn't get passed. There was no names attached. It was an anonymous. An anonymous program where all it'd be, the age, where the person lived, the town that the person lived, what have you, and we couldn't get it passed. And I said, I use Derry for instance. If one of the middle schools has 13-year-olds getting pregnant, and we have 5 of them that have abortions, maybe we should spend some of that family planning money, teaching these kids about the consequences of unprotected sex.
Yeah.
And rather than just throwing it into the wind and throwing it to these abortion centers and stuff and hoping for the best. It once again, though, it went nowhere. It was wasn't even party lines, but I don't know how we beat that, how we stop that. Common sense tells me what we're doing isn't working. You do something different, and I guess common sense isn't so common.
Yeah. Most of you watching already know this, but I am without a doubt pro-life. Abortion's murder, simple as that. And I've advocated for that for a long time, for a few years at least, when I got to know what the topic was. Last year, in, I think, June, I actually organized a small pro-life sign wave outside of the Derry Planned Parenthood downtown. Representative was actually there.
Yes, I was.
He was one of the people I invited. I think 23 people total showed up. I organized it with my friend Diego, who will be attending St. Anselm this upcoming school year. So excited to get him up here. We'll have him on this show plenty of times. But yeah, abortion's murder. Simple as that. Read the statistics. Read stories. Read stories of people that almost had abortions and decided not to, or people that had abortions and regretted it rather quickly, because it's murder.
Yeah, I got involved in the pro-life movement. I was probably about 27 years old, and my girlfriend got pregnant, and we were living together. And one day I went to work, and she was pregnant, and I came home, and she wasn't. And I kind of just sat there and said, where's my rights? Nobody asked me if I'd raise my child, and I'd have to just sit back and let this happen. And I had a burning feeling in my gut for a long, long time. And I met Jane Cormier. Jane was at the time she was a state rep from Alton, I believe, and later to become the president of New Hampshire Right to Life. And she brought me on board there, and I got involved there. And I just think there's a whole lot better solution than abortion. Before I die, I'd like to see the go-to thing to be adoption rather than abortion. It's a lot of suffering goes with it. The mothers suffer a lot too. I had a relative that had an abortion. It was an illegal abortion at the time, and she spent most of her life suffering from alcoholism, drug addiction, in and out of mental institutions and stuff like that. And she got cancer, and she died at the age of 42. But I was bringing her in and out of Boston for her chemo and radiation treatments, and sometimes she'd just look out the window. Other times would get into some real deep conversation and stuff. And she revealed that to me, and I sat there and said, that's what happened, and nobody wants to talk about that end of it. It's it has deep, lifelong things attached to it that we can't just brush them off.
Yeah. Every time I have a conversation with someone that's pro-choice, one of the reasons when I argue that adoption's a much better solution to not wanting a child, they always say, oh, the foster system, it's all messed up right now. So do you think that there's any room in the future for bills that would enhance or make the foster system better in New Hampshire, or adoption system, I should say?
I'd like to see it, but because it's the abortion industry is so prevalent, people look at it like it isn't needed. It is needed. If we're going to make adoption work, we've got to make it cheaper for starters.
Yeah.
We can't be charging people $25,000-$30,000 to adopt a baby. Many people go to Mexico, go to China, to adopt because it's a lot cheaper, and we've got to fix that.
Yeah. That's one thing it's on my wish list too, for the State House to take up. What other bills have been happening?
We've had a few gun bills,
Yeah.
last couple sessions we've had some, and there's been a lot of talk on social media about school shootings and stuff like that. And I'm an advocate for mental health, better mental health care. That's where the problem lies. I testified on a gun bill, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago, whenever it was, but I said, what are we doing today that we weren't doing 50 years ago? And what it is 50 years ago we had mental hospitals, state mental hospitals, and the very dangerous were locked up. Today we just give them a bucket of pills and hope like heck it works. And any doctor will tell you that the pharmacology part of mental health is a guessing game. And when they're dangerous, we can't be guessing. That's the bottom line. I don't think kids would be any safer if they took guns out of most people's hands. The criminals will always find a gun. The insane will always, if they want to do harm, they will find a way to do it. Whether it's drive over a busload of bunch of kids getting off a bus, or flying planes into buildings. If evil people want to do evil, they will do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I talked about that last episode with the Nashville shooting. We don't have a gun crisis in America. We have a mental health crisis.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't take a psychiatrist to figure out that there was some serious mental health problems there.
Yeah. Look at just about every single one of these school shooters. All of them got mental health issues.
Or on psychotropic drugs.
Yeah.
And, and if you dig into the side effects, a lot of them have homicidal and suicidal ideologies go with it. It's, like I said, it's a guessing game for the doctors. And, we can't be handling a very dangerous, proven dangerously mentally ill people like that. Unfortunately, some people are probably going to have to be locked up.
Yeah.
Rather than give up freedoms.
Yeah. So we're nearing the end of our time. Do you have like a closing statement you want to leave with the audience?
No, it's been a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank you. You keep doing what you're doing. You're an amazing young man.
Thank you. I'm hoping to get to the State House one more time probably this session. I think they go to May, April.
We'll know. It depends on crossover, what we get. We have no idea how many bills the Senate's going to send us, or how much debate's going to be on them. I mean, if there's no debate on on a lot of bills, well, they just fly right through. If there's a lot of debate, well, it takes time.
Yeah. And I'll leave my audience with a homework assignment. Go on YouTube, watch a House session or watch a Senate session. I know they're like 8 hours each. Don't watch the whole thing like me, but watch some of it. Like, see how our government actually works, see what they're talking about, and then maybe next time you're ranting about something on social media, you'll actually have some facts behind it. You'll be able to strengthen your argument. I made that mistake when I first got into this stuff. I wasn't researching enough. And then I started actually getting involved in the actual government itself, and I'd see how this stuff would actually work. And it just gave me another viewpoint. Yeah. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. I'm Anthony Henry. This has been America's Ass. I'll see you next episode.